Residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
Hell yeah, it's Saturday night and it's time for your favorite show, my favorite show, Hoofed Beast's favorite show, everybody's favorite show, Tracks from the Motherfucking Damned. That's right. It's just me and my brother from another mother, Human the Hoofed Beast. So we're going to keep you laughing and interested the entire time.
How
with all
could
of our
you?
wonderful banter.
And how could you not be interested when we're talking about Tool?
Fuck yeah. The band tonight is Tool. That's more of a recent photo of them. My, have they not changed much. They must have found the everlasting secret to youth. I don't know. But I'm so excited. As most of you know, I'm going to be going into the studio next month to lay some tracks. And my new JBL noise-canceling earbuds came in.
Oh, cool.
I've been trying them out all day, just tickled pink, man. They are everything that they are hyped up to be. So I'll be practicing all March using those. So drummers out there, get you a pair so that you don't hear yourself while you're playing and practicing. All right. A little bit of gear talk for you. All right. Hey, thank you, brother. We will definitely try to do our best to have a good show without you. Kyler, what's up, brother? Guess
All
what?
right,
I'm not
Kyler.
going to hit you with the lazy titty.
Well,
I'm going to give you the night off.
I've got a semi-lazy titty. I'm just kidding.
Trust me, you don't want to see my guns. So anyway, moving on. Let me get over here because I am basically producing tonight, and I just realized that. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. For those of you that are into Viking culture, the Norse path, and you're looking for some really good representations in jewelry and all kinds of things that they make, check out the Viking Vault. Like I said, whether you're a fan of the culture or you are a descendant, and you're looking for some really good, high quality jewelry and creations by them, they got it all. Anything from bracelets to rings to necklaces, earrings, just about anything you could possibly want. So check them out. All right, we are here to talk about the illustrious Tool, one of the noise. One of the only bands that could take a ridiculously long time to put out a record, and we'll get to that. I don't want to drop my Easter eggs just yet, but you know, and still have the popularity. Like nothing stopped, nothing fell off. You know, even though we were heartbroken every time they said it's coming, it's not coming, it's coming, it's not coming, coming, it's not. But it finally dropped, and I'll give my synopsis on that later. Actually, probably sooner than we think.
Mm.
So we're going to, according to us, this is our top 5 picks, even though there is only 5 albums, technically 6, because I just found out that Opiate 2 is an EP and not just a single, according to Spotify. Those fucks. Damn it. Speaking of Spotify, we just hit 116 monthly listeners on Iron Serpent's Spotify. You motherfuckers rock. And
Good.
to the 100 Finnish people of Finland, thank you.
Yes, I saw that. I was
What
really
the fuck?
surprised. How the hell did you manage that? That's amazing.
I don't fucking know.
God.
I mean, it obviously it's worldwide distribution, you know, when you get your shit onto Spotify. But how the fuck it made it over there, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is Mr. Doom 666. Because we reached 1K views in 10 days, and I was like, holy shit. Folks, just a little bit of insight for you. That is a record compared to Black Tar's biggest single, which was Hail to the Succubus. It reached 1K like 3 or 4 weeks before that
Mm.
one reached that kind of status. So thank you.
And I love Hail to the Succubus. Great song.
Yeah. And, you know, as you were talking to me before about doing more drum videos, so I kind of got a little bit of an idea going on. For some of you that still like some of my work with Black Tar, I was thinking about picking just a few songs that I feel really defined my playing with the band, especially if some of you guys are drummers out there and you're kind of like, well, how did you play that? You can literally see how I do it in the videos. And I only had one person go, well, where's the music? I'm like, if I have the song playing over top, how are you going to pay attention to what I'm doing? So that is why I do it dry and not put, you know, the music over top of it. But if you want, before watching my playthrough, listen to the track on Spotify, then come back. So I think I'll drop a Spotify link in there for him. Kyler says, oh, Reaper, I got one of my friends who stream on Twitch who works with Knotfest, and I got him to play your song. What?
Wow, that's so cool.
Did he like it?
Kyler's the
Fucking
best.
hell. Kyler's got the hookup. Man, Klaus is going to shit his fucking pants when he hears this. He played it on his personal stream. Aramon? Fucking hell. Thank you, sir. That's means the world because, like I said, we didn't know how people were going to react because it ain't fucking Black Tar, even though it's 50% of Black Tar. He loved it. Thank you. I will have to reach out to him, so we'll talk later. Anyways, we're here to talk about Tool, one of the most dynamic, real, true tech prog, almost borderline goth at times. Just in its overtones, what they talk about, the darkness of the sound, especially that bass. Man, that bass player's tone is so fat and so luscious. You just get lost in it. And one of their, yes, that was my wonderful Lard
Oh.
trying for my attention, so I had to yeet her. All right. And, you know, and that's one of the things. I mean, I love the guitarist. The guitarist is very airy, very big, open chordish type stuff that a lot of us like. So we're counting down basically our top 5. So at my number 5, probably going to receive a lot of hate for this. Fear Inoculum. We waited so long for this record, and I'm not taking anything away from the guys. There was pressure. There was pressure from the label, but the biggest pressure was from the fans. They wanted something new. And my reason for putting this at number 5 is because I don't feel it represents them very well. It feels very rushed. Maynard didn't bring the same type of emotion in his voice. You know, Maynard's one of those guys that when he sings, you fucking listen. It's like watching a wizard at work. And, you know, I always have to kind of, you know, you've seen him 3 times. I've seen him once. The amount of intensity that man brings to his singing is almost second to none. And it felt rushed. It felt like they just puked it out. They didn't take their time with it like they well crafted all the albums before it. So not hating on it totally, because there are some pretty good moments. Some of my favorites off of there is Invincible. I really enjoyed Legion, Inoculate. It was very, very trippy. And The Darkness of Descending. Those were pretty much my favorites there. The drumming was still phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Just not his level of tastiness that I know he can bring at any given moment. But, you know, a drummer can only do what you can with the riffs that are presented, you know, for you. Now, he does, you know, like we were talking a little bit before broadcast that, you know, he does tend to like fill in some of those holes, but leave spaces, gives little, you know, little bits of flavor here and there. Very musical, very dynamic playing. But the problem with this album for me was a lot of the songs just sounded like recycled plot. So that's my take on that album. I still have love for it, which is why it made my number 5. And not just because I only thought they had 5. Because the song that they dropped in 2022, Opiate 2, I fucking love it. I felt like they returned. The flavor, the love, the punch you in the dick, it was there. Loved it.
Yeah, that's just their old stuff though. That's from like the early 90s. Yeah, they just remastered it.
That was it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's their first album. Opiate.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Undertow?
Now Undertow's number 2. Oh,
No
Opiates is the EP, but it's a long EP.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my brother shared it with me on, you know, how we used to do mixtapes. So my brother sent me, and there was stuff on there that I was surprised. Like he put Björk on there, a Human Behavior album. This is in the early 90s. And yeah, yeah. Oh, I love Björk. I think
The
she's
music's great.
outstanding.
I can take her voice in doses, though.
I loved
The music's
everything
great.
about her until after Vespertine album. Like I think in 2000 or 2001, she came out with the Vespertine album. Love that album. And then after that, she's too fucking weird. And the song arrangements, like there's hardly any structure to her songs, and just bore the hell out of me.
We have a couple of questions. Real quick.
Right.
First question is, Kyler asks, I have to ask, what was your first Tool? What was the first song for us? First time we ever heard Tool. For me, it's very simple. Sober.
For me, it was shit. I might be able to reach it here. Well, I'll grab it in a second. It's off the Opiate album because that was the first that I heard, but I can't remember which song it was. But
Nice.
There on the Opiate album, there is a live song that they do on there, and he's talking, and kind of Maynard James Keenan is kind of cursing out the audience.
That's such a Maynard thing to do.
Yeah, he's getting after him. And this is when he used to actually come in front the band instead of sit way in the back to where you can hardly see him and hide. He even did that for A Perfect Circle. I've seen them a couple times. He just hides in the back.
Or he'll come out in disguise. You know it's him, but it don't look like him.
Because he's short as fuck.
Yeah, he's kind of a chameleon, that guy.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't fuck with him, though.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's got that attitude of crazy that he could snap at any moment.
Yeah. Well, another fun fact about Tool is like why it took so long from 2006 is when 10,000 Days came out, and then to 2019, 13 goddamn years. It's because they were in court for a
Yep.
lot of the time. And
Over
then,
artwork.
yep, and then Maynard has
A
Pucifer
million
going
days.
on, a Perfect Circle going on, and I guess he would, give time to those. Pucifer, I don't give a shit about. I bought one of their albums, and to me,
I
it's
don't think
that's
too many people do.
yeah,
So
it's kind of gimmicky. Like he's trying to be funny and edgy, and to me, that's a bit of a gimmick, and it's the music just isn't there. Like his voice is amazing.
it
But
is.
like I'll take him on a Perfect Circle. Even the last album that had a lot of kind of poppy songs, I'll still take that album over Pucifer. I don't care for
That
that
was
at
a
all.
tad gimmicky also with the long black hair wig. I just be you, man. Just be you. Don't do that. Be bold and proud like me.
Yeah, I don't think the Mohawk is his either, and I don't know
No, he
why
really
he's
wasn't.
doing a Mohawk. To me, a Mohawk belongs in the 70s in England, maybe as it comes over
Yes,
to
with the true
America in the
cocaine.
80s. Like to me, that's where a Mohawk belongs, or with the Iroquois tribes, hundreds of years ago. Like I'm so tired of seeing Mohawks, especially faux hawks that are really wide and that these football players are doing now. I'm just like, good gosh. To me, when you were punk in the 80s and in the 70s, you had something to say. You were fucking against something and you were pretty brash. And these
Yeah.
guys are just fucking pop shit, gimmick
That's what happens
attitudes
when
about things.
something gets commercialized.
Yeah.
Then again, in pop culture, everyone steals from everybody. And unfortunately, they steal all the badass shit and turn it into wussy shit. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is.
So I brought up the court case that they were dealing with in a
Yes.
little bit of an excuse for them for taking so damn long. I
Yeah.
blame most of it on Maynard though, because
He was
you
kind of the
can read
catalyst there.
you can read between the lines. Maynard always causes all kinds of shit. I think Adam Jones, the bassist, of course, he's always down. He has nothing else to do. And Danny Carey's always doing all kinds of stuff, but Danny Carey's down. Like
Yeah.
he'll do stuff. It's always Maynard. And so I was kind of wondering, it's kind of like UFC fighters. If they have a bad injury and they are kind of out of practice, a lot of times they don't return with the same strength or the same timing, the same type of skill set, the same aggression, maybe the same motivation as they had before. Things
Probably
happen in
also
life.
like the comfortability with the octagon itself.
Yeah. But I will say, having said that, I don't want to reveal all my thoughts on the Fear Inoculum album,
Well, of course.
but I really like it, and I have a different take on why it does sound very different than a lot of the others. I absolutely agree, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to bring it up about Maynard's vocals not being as intense. But I
And
think
he's
this,
kind of the clincher for me when it comes to the band. Yes, the rest of the musicianship it's awesome, but if he's not at what he's capable of, it's like damn it.
yeah, but I still have a little bit of a different take, and I'll reveal that a little while
For sure.
later. So my number 5 is Undertow.
No, okay. I
So
could
this
actually
is
kind of
this
see
is
why that would be.
this is technically their first album, the first full-length album, but most of the songs are right around 4 minutes long. I think they went up to 5 minutes on one of the songs, and
I
another one
believe
might
so.
be like 4.5. But all of them are running right around radio time. And I remember when this came out, I had already had Opiate before this, and I wasn't exactly thrilled with this album. Um, it is a lot more raw, but to me, this album, and you also said another thing about Anima that is totally spot on. that I'll bring up when I reveal
For sure.
that album, or when you do. And is this is still traditionally structured. The way the songs are structured, the way the vocals come in, the song timing is structured in a more traditional way. And Anima, as you mentioned before, was a departure from that. And that's when the art started to me. And still pretty damn unique. You can hear Danny Carey's genius, Adam Jones, even though it was a different bassist, the bassist was really prominent and chuggy in what he was doing. Out of Undertow, Prison Sex is a pretty damn heavy song, but Sober and Swamp Song are my two favorite songs off of that album. And still, it's a very, very good album. But when I heard Tool later on with the later albums, it was something totally different that I had never, ever heard before. The way they structured songs, like what a big departure. Of course, it still sounded like them, but I was just like, oh my gosh, these guys have arrived.
Very much so. It's
Undertow
almost like they took a wonder drug.
Yeah. Wonder shrooms, probably.
Right.
I would guess. But so this is 1993 Undertow, and it's damn good album, but definitely my number 5. No hesitation.
I feel it. Which is why my number 4 happens to be the same one we just talked about. Not a surprise. We're always very close in where we rank a lot of things. But yeah, this was definitely my first introduction to them. Sometimes I'll put an album as my number 1 if that was like held a special place in my heart. And it's not that it doesn't. It's just that it was just an introduction, like, hi, how you doing? It was right in line with the alternative rock scene, because that is what they were billed as.
Absolutely.
Right along with all the other bands that, they just fucking suck for the most part,
Yeah.
except for Alice in Chains.
Tool. I will also say, Super Unknown.
Oh yeah,
Bad Motorfinger. Bad Motorfinger is a fucking badass album.
I still get down to Spoon Man to this day, so I like both records.
Jesus Christ
was heavier for sure.
Hell yeah, Doomy too. Sabbath,
very thick, really sludgy guitar sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was like you said, a bit more traditional in the song composition. It fit this your typical standard rock tune, but it was more exciting. It offered a lot of promise. Obviously, the best one, Sober, Prison Sex, those two are the best. Although I really did, I dug Swamp Song, Intolerance. It was very angry, but not as deep as they were about to get. So this is, when you talk about like gateway drugs, this was the gateway album to everything that comes next. So that is my number 4.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 4.
And they didn't unleash Danny's artistic stuff just yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta let the animal out of the cage once in a while, damn it. And they sure did.
So number 4 and number 3 were really hard ones for me because I kind of knew going in that these were going to be my number 3 and my number 4. I knew number 5 was going to be Undertow. I just knew it for sure. So I thought about, and this is the album that I saw toured for the 3 times that I saw him. And when I went to the first show, I think was 2006, and I got my ass grabbed. I was up on the lawn watching the show by myself because I didn't know anybody who would want to go see a metal show with me. And these 2 girls, they must have been on ecstasy or something. and they came up and grabbed
I
my ass.
remember
And I
you
thought,
mentioning this.
and I thought, oh well, that's really nice. I feel good about myself. And then they went around grabbing everybody else's asses. They were just running and grabbing asses and running, these two girls, and
It's like Night at the
pretty
Roxbury.
funny.
There's a lot of good ass grabbing going on.
So, anyways, so this album came out in 2006, and it is 10,000 days, and it comes with some kind of magnifying glasses so you can like read the artwork that's on the inside, so you can kind
That
of
is
check
so
out
cool.
the artwork. And it didn't really work real well for me, but and the CD is a little bit bigger, so it didn't fit in my CD case as
For
it should,
sure.
so I could read the spine. But um, this album is really, really damn good. The artistry is in there. Um, yeah,
You
I
grab
kind
my
of
ass.
felt
You
like that.
grab my
Yeah, I like
ass.
turned around right away, and yeah, I didn't think it was a guy though. It felt like an old lady's delicate hand.
It's all soft and small.
Yeah, bony, bony little fingers.
You're like, safe.
Yeah, so 10,000 Days, Vicarious is probably my favorite song off there. And I'd never really used that word, and ever since understanding what the song was about, like I've used that word a lot, like very vicariously living through whatever. I think a lot of people would think that I try to live vicariously through my daughter's soccer because she's pretty successful with that. Because I never got the chance to go play because I went in the army. But that song is great. It's a
It is.
Vicarious comes in at 7:08. Rosetta Stoned, damn good song. Hell if I know what that's about. 11 minutes. Right in Two is a really good song that builds and builds and builds at
And that's what they're the kings
8:53.
of,
Yes.
you know?
And this is what happened. And maybe not so much with Anima, but in Lateralis they did it. Like they did definitely started to do it with Anima, but Anima, I think the longest song was 9 minutes and 20. No, wait, no, see, that's Lateralis. I think the longest song was Push It at 10 minutes. And then they had an 8-minute song, and then the rest were right around 6 or 5, somewhere right around there. So in Anima, the songs weren't quite as long, but they were doing this real gentle, slowly building, and then they would crush you and really get
Every time.
into it. Yeah, and I fucking love that.
Who
And if
doesn't?
you and if anybody knows the music that I've been writing mostly by myself here, that's what I do a lot. Now, I might start out harder, but I like to change tempos and bring things down. For me, it's like from,
Gotta have that
you know,
tension release.
yeah, like a black metal, and then my kind of resting point in my songs. It's really pummeling heavy and slow, chugging stuff because I just like that variety, and that's what I love about Tool, is that variety. And another
It's like
thing
a
that
symphony
I'll,
of horrors.
yeah, like another thing, like I have to talk about Anima, although Anima's a ways away in my ranking. But Anima is where they really showed their artistry and they became Tool. I mean, Reaper, can you name a band that's like Tool?
Nope.
I,
Not
I
to
I
this
can't.
day.
I
No one
can't.
has been able to imitate or replicate. It's damn impossible.
And when they do that coming in
Oh, the pot is
subtly,
badass, Kyler. I agree 100,000.
yeah. Yep, I like the pot. Yeah, I had that written down here too. Vicarious, Rosetta Stone, Right into, and Zombie are my four favorites out of that one. But the pot's
Which
good
is
too.
hilarious because they're my
Yeah.
four favorites.
Yeah. But so like another point that I think we have to make at this point, now that we're into their later albums, the post Anima albums, but Anima is also um, where they started using more delay and they became more atmospheric in what they were doing. the delay on the bass a lot of the times with the clean kind of parts, and the delay on the guitar, the chugging and kind of building up the chugging, changing the kind of tempo with the, sometimes a
Almost
little
like
slow.
foreshadowing in a way.
Yeah, I just love how their songs build. And they're long songs, especially after Anima, once we hit Lateralis and on. But I never got bored with their albums, ever.
Nope. You don't even think about how much time has passed listening to it, because it's like you're constantly, it's like you're moving, you're on a roller coaster, and it's just going up, stops, going up. A little exciting, bring it back down, then again, down, and finally you reach the top, and then suddenly they drop you on your head.
And you know how, like in sports, especially in basketball, because there's 5 players on the court at a time, you have to have role players. And when I think about Tool, I think of them, each member, all 4 of them, are genius role players. They're not guitar wankery. What Adam Jones is doing with his guitar is not amazing. It's easy stuff to play. Now, to get his tone and stuff like that, you need to be working with pedals and stuff like that and really understand stuff. And especially the bass player, all the pedals that he has, holy shite.
I mean, it literally, it's like he just shits pedals. They just drop.
Yeah.
I was going to say, out of, I don't know, tons of bands that do a lot of different sound effects and stuff, I haven't seen anybody who has quite a pedal setup as those two do, honestly.
Yeah. And like, why don't you, I'm going to throw this at you and see what your opinion is on this. As role players, Danny Carey's position in the band, Adam Jones, I never can remember the name of the bassist, and then Maynard James Keenan. They're not doing the most complicated stuff like Dream Theater, where Dream Theater gets lost in their stuff sometimes. Like Metropolis is so complicated, so
it's
difficult
all over
to
the
play.
place.
And it's like wankery to where, like, I really don't like that album from Dream Theater. But their newer stuff I do like, except for the ballads. But because I just get lost, and it's so technical, and it's like too much. It's like too overwhelming. These guys, I would argue, Adam Jones' guitar is very simple. The bass is fairly simple, but that tone is really prominent, and it kind of drives and holds the song together. But Danny Carey's percussion that's what I cling on to for every song. And then the way the Maynard James Keenan comes in, the way he writes his songs is totally unconventional for every song. Anima.
They don't normally follow the rhythm of the riff either. Like it's standalone.
Yes, absolutely.
Almost kind of like a musical. And that's, and I was just about to say, Kyler gets it. It's overlapping. It's almost,
yes,
like I said, orchestral in a lot of ways, that each part, like you said, plays its own role each time, where the bassist is running the riff and the simple chugging of the other guy, the guitarist, is bringing that little, that sense of we're marching towards something. Maynard is very, singing low. He's not real aggressive. It's very melodic, almost fucking bone chilling, really. And then Danny's back there giving you even more tonal stuff, where it's a constant rhythm. You have a sense of time, but he puts in these little rudimental things between the cymbals. It could be simply just a splash. His toms are pretty much tuned like mine. They're major thirds apart. And it's almost like a piano in a way, like a player piano, like Phil Glass, you know what I mean? So, and it just all works together. And when you listen to an orchestral piece, that's a lot how percussion is. So you can definitely tell he's got the training. He gets the idea of pianissimo versus motherfucking forte. He can move back and forth flawlessly. He can make you feel like you're about to jizz yourself and pull you away before you blow. It's true. He creates so much stress, but doesn't go womp ass for another 16, 24 bars. You know,
Yes.
that's exactly why 10,000 Days is my number 3.
Got
We're neck and neck, man. It's going to be
Yeah.
real interesting for the battle of number 1 and 2.
Yeah.
This album, I don't even need to mention the songs because you already hit the nail on the monkey. Although right into, I really like that song too. It's so much like you had mentioned before, just a bunch of variety. Nothing sounds like a carbon copy of the first.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times when you get into a techie situation, you go, oh, well, I expected them to do that. I expected them to do that. You can't do that with this record. Everything is kind of like a subtle surprise.
Yes.
And that's what keeps us interested, especially for me as a listener. It's fun for me to sit there and try to figure out what time signature they went into. That's fucking fun because it's pleasant to find out that what you thought it was actually something completely different. They do a lot of three against, no, I'm sorry, 5 against 4. A lot of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just a lot of back and forth that just mesmerizes you. And at the same time, you're trying to get your bearings with their signatures on this record. Then there's all these other like pretty nilly things going on in the background. And the guitarist has gotten so, I think he figured out that for his role in the band, as we were talking about roles before, simplicity is key for him. Until it's time to go balls out and just rock that out. But he's like, I'm going to experiment with this. And then I'm going to throw some of this in there. And suddenly he's become a whole new instrument.
Yes,
it's like the guitar is just, it's more than just a guitar. And he was the smartest guitar player I could ever imagine. Instead of just going, I'm mediocre, I just made you think that I was the best guitarist ever. And it's the way he uses it. Much like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. He was the same way. He was able to kind of make his guitar do things that normally in a hardcore situation, and yes, Rage Against the Machine is a hardcore band. It's just there was a lot of funk and hip hop influence. But he was able to turn his guitar into something that normally in that setting would have never done. And that's what they did with this record. And it shines. The bass is, like I said, it's fun. We haven't really had anything bass like standing out so much since Geezer Butler. And I kind of feel like, some of the way they wrote these songs where suddenly the guitar becomes accompaniment to the bass. That's when you really got something unique. So that's why it's my number 3.
It's just like their egos are kind of set aside. They're like, I'm going to do what's best for this song artistically. And there's no guitar wankery. Danny Carey
doesn't need it.
Yeah. And that's why it works so well.
It's kind of like he went with the Miles Davis idea. Play one fucking note 62 different ways.
Yes, exactly.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
And like this band influences me in so many ways. Like that's what I do when I'm like writing my own songs because of Tool. I'm like, I don't want it to sound just the same way. Like I'll say, what else can I do? And this comes from my training in art. There's an artist that passed away just a couple of years ago named Jasper Johns, famous printmaker and an encaustic painter, post-painterly abstractionist painter from the 50s. He's actually from South Carolina as well. And he had a quote. I had his book before, and he had a quote, and this is the quote that has never left me, and it's probably the most artistic quote that I've ever heard as far as improvisation goes. And he said, this is what he said. This is Jasper Johns. He said, do something. So in art, do something, or in music, do something. And then he says, do something else. do something else. And so he's saying, take what you have and keep building on it. Do something else. Do something else. And then it just goes on and on and on. Continue to push what you have. Do something else. Now, it goes bad if you're Dream Theater for the Metropolis 2 album. Because that song, I don't like that album. I may never listen to that album again, and Dream Theater fans will probably, oh my, that's the album they get so pissed off about. But it's that album just isn't interesting to me. There's too much going on all the time. And yeah, you can say, yeah, you're a simpleton and you just don't get it, but it just doesn't sound good to me.
That's got nothing to do with it. If it fucking sucks, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, the best thing they did was get Mike Mangini is now the drummer, if I remember correctly. Best fucking move you could have ever made.
And
in my opinion.
This would be sacrilege for Dream Theater fans, but my favorite Dream Theater albums are all the ones with Mangini. Except for I don't like the one that's a concept album, not the Ascending. It's the one about the robots kind of taking over. It came out in like 2014 or 15. I don't like that album. Most people don't.
I'm not taking anything away from Mike Portnoy, but let's be real. He is a thrash drummer pretending to play prog.
I agree.
That
Absolutely
was
agree.
Between him and the vocalist, hated it. Hated that whole era. Now, when Mangini came in, that was the first time I actually sat down and listened because I wanted to see if it would be different. And he added so much to that band. Don't get me wrong, they're all excellent musicians in their own right, but he added more flavor and actually caught my attention. I was just able to block the vocalist out. I can't.
The vocalist he's really taken a turn for the worse. Like he can't hit the notes.
I don't doubt it. I didn't think he would last long, to be honest. They should have replaced him. Shit.
When I lived in Thailand, I had just had knee surgery, and a month later, like 4 weeks later, I went up. I was like, God damn it. I could barely walk. I went and saw Dream Theater up in Thailand, and his singing was pretty bad for a lot of the songs. He can't do anything what he used to do.
Probably because he done strained his shit out. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a lot of their problem. Mm-hmm. I know we're not talking about Dream Theater tonight, but a lot of their problem to me is that they were, I know, here we are. And this is what sets Tool apart from them. They're not perfectionists. They don't play like fucking robots. And that's the Dream Theater way, is to be a robot, spit it out like a computer fucking program. You know what I mean?
Although I see
plays with feeling.
Yeah. I would say that Dream Theater, since they've had Mancini, the albums are much better. The stick isn't up their ass sideways anymore. It might be up their ass maybe in 2 inches, but it's not that bad anymore.
It's like the ego was there, and then they got knocked down a peg because, you know, stupid fuck at the helm is getting stupider.
Yeah, I really like hearing your perspective as a percussionist on Mike Portnoy, because I have never, ever cared for him.
Should have stuck his ass in Slayer.
Yep, he would have been
instead
fine
of
with
Paul
that.
Bostaph. They should have put him in there.
Or maybe even, he would have been probably fine, but he's more of an Anthrax. Anthrax is more kind of straightforward.
Kinda.
Yeah, I could kind of see him.
I do hear Charlie. A lot of Charlie Benante in him.
Yeah.
Still can't hold a candle to him. That's just my opinion. As old as Charlie is fucking doing the Pantera tour.
Yes.
And I could not be more impressed. I've always said it. He is so fucking underrated as a drummer. It's ridiculous.
And what a great guy.
What's wrong with you people?
Every interview I've ever seen him do as well, he's so humble, so outgoing. What a great guy.
Yeah.
He's received so much shit from this Pantera tour as well, and he's fucking doing great.
It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah. And even Zakk Wylde. A lot of people
have caught it that him and Vinny were such good friends. They were brothers.
Mhm.
They really were. There's nobody better to honor him. I think if they would have went with anybody else, it would have been heresy.
Mm.
Straight
Yeah,
up.
I have no
And
problem.
Zach and Dine, they were like this.
This summer, I think they're coming to Atlanta around August. I want to go
Oh
see them.
man.
Hell yeah. Haven't seen them since Vulgar Display of Power. Like the first month that came out is when I saw Pantera.
Oh, that
All
would
right,
be
well, we're really fucking sidetracked tonight. But
That's
it's
what
fun.
happens when
Like
you get two music teachers in the same room.
but
We start
but
talking shop.
it's all relevant. Like to me, this stuff's interesting. It's things I've wanted to say for years.
Everybody feeds it. Honestly, musically, everyone feeds into each other. The bands we mentioned outside, there's subtle influences all over the place.
Yeah.
So we're on to, what did I just do? Number 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Let's see.
Number
No.
3.
Oh yeah, you just did number 3, so it's my number 3. Yeah, you did number 3, 10,000 Days. My number 3 is Fear Inoculum.
Okay.
And this
I've been
this
waiting for
is
this because I want to get your take on it.
this is a really kind of hard CD to get a hold of as well. I had to pay a lot of money for this. Oh, Genghis.
Thank you, Gangis.
So this CD it's so hard to find. Look at that fucking design on that CD.
Oh, I have nothing against the design,
Beautiful.
and it's just it's really
Like,
not that much against the record. It's just Maynard for me.
yeah,
That's it
yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I just have a different take on it.
for sure.
But this is like a book, and the book has all these different art pages, and they are stunners. This is where you get the pictures of them in there, the bassist, and there's our beloved Danny. But the artwork in here is just stunning. And then it also comes with these really fucking cool, like it's that stuff where if you change it, you kind of change the angle, you get a different perspective on
Yeah.
it. But some of these are effing fucking bizarre. Like really
Wow.
bizarre Adam Jones kind of
That's
influence
a
artwork.
very interesting take on the goddess Shiva.
Hell yeah. Really
Very
cool.
different.
Yeah, they're all 3D as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really neat. So you get like I think there's 5 of them like that. So I think I paid like $36
Holy crap!
for this, and that was new as well.
I
And
would
it was
not
hard to
pay
find. So yeah, so Fear Inoculum is mine. And like there was a band we did a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, where you were talking about you felt like this was a more mature offering from them. And when I first heard Fear Inoculum, I liked it because it's Tool, it's the slow builds, it's the beautiful guitar work, the bass kind of gluing everything together. Danny Carey's percussion and all that, but it is toned down quite a bit. And maybe as I'm getting older, maybe I appreciated that tone down because I listened to such heavy, heavy, heavy. It like I listen to such heavy music all the time. Fear Inoculum was so welcome to me. It was my palate cleanse every day. And so like I really felt like it's different. And it is the thing that you talked about,
Johnny.
not Danny Carey,
Yep.
Maynard James Keenan's vocals. It really is different. Absolutely. It's not as intense. He's not screaming. And I heard that before the album was released. And I was like, oh, I don't know what I think about that. But I
It's
still love this album.
it's weird. I don't know. It was like a big shock to the system for me. And like I said, some of the other songs sounded reminiscent of songs past for me. There are moments where it's like, wait a minute, you guys have already done that. You know, when it becomes predictable for me, that's when I'm like,
I think this is their least intense album,
it is.
but I don't know about predictable because the songs are fucking long and I just don't get bored of them.
I'm talking about rhythms.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Like Tempest or Zempest comes in at 15 minutes and 40 seconds.
Of awesome.
Love the song. Numa is 11 minutes and 45 seconds. Descending is the shortest one at 5 minutes and 54 seconds. Um, oh, wait, no. Descending is 13 and a half minutes long. And it builds until the 5 minute and 54 second mark. That's when the guitars and everything starts to slam down heavy. I love it. Like they are so creative, so subtle with things. The little subtle changes, just genius to me. And it was hard to go between this and 10,000 Days. Maybe it was
Well,
the time when I got into this, I was listening to such heavy stuff and I just appreciated this album and it was just really relaxing for me to listen. To put my earbuds in and go to bed at night listening to this album was like right up my alley.
no, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just that when I don't know, for me, it's like when somebody like Maynard and the way he sings, the way he can just explode on you. And if it doesn't come through, it's almost like a drug, like you're jonesing for it. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. That's normally when you would, you know, really lay it on us, you know, emotionally.
Yeah.
It's almost like a release because, you know, I always talk
Hmm.
about multiple levels of heavy, and these guys are no
Hmm.
exception to that rule. Their version of heavy is just in its composition. Um, we've talked about that tension release, the constant build. A lot of that was still there on that record. It's just I wish Maynard would have gave it a little bit more. And I did read a lot of, you know, reviews on it and stuff like that. And everybody kind of agreed with me. So I was just kind of
Hmm.
like, well, maybe the masses at large, you know, if they're hearing the same thing I am, then maybe I'm not too far off. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not that I have hate for the record.
no, the
Excuse me.
that's what separates this album from the other four, from Anima, Lateralis, 10,000 Days, and this one is that it is the more kind of calm and toned down. Now, for the next album, I don't want him to do these types of vocals again because then it's lacked
It would be a
intensity.
mistake.
Yeah, I totally agree. So please, Maynard James Keenan, I know you're watching this.
We
Do
love you.
not do that again.
Get your head out of your butt. All right, moving on to number 2. All right, so for me, I might get shot for this. Lateralis. And there is a reason. Not that it is not the most awesomest fucking album ever. It really doesn't have that much to do with it. Schism is just a work of art. It is mind-blowing, gripping, everything you want in a Tool record. There's another record that's just so much closer to me. And it's got so many songs that I have so many memories attached to. Told you I tend to do that sometimes. And it's like, I don't know. This record, though, I mean, it definitely raised the bar, technically, soundscape wise. You could definitely see what direction that they were headed as it, you know, was pushing towards 10,000 Days. Just, it's rifflicious. The bass very prominent out there. Like I said, kind of taking on more of a rhythm guitar feel versus just the bass itself. And it really kind of shows you the depth of his playing. It's not as simple as many would think. And I mean, especially on that song Schism, the fact that he's the one setting the tone for the whole song, that was just beautiful. Very technical picking going on there. Not the usual. You don't really hear them doing 16th note triplets on the bass. So that was nice to see. So naturally, my feet want to go because I love that shit. I mean, that's right up my alley. I'm a rhythm whore.
Iconic riff.
So, I mean, The Patient, The Grudge. What else here? Disposition. Man, this is one of those records I can literally listen from beginning to end and not get bored.
Good.
I will not skip a track.
Agreed. I can come in anywhere, anytime, anywhere in the album. I don't care. It's an amazing album.
Fuck yeah.
So my number 2 is Anima.
I knew it.
So my reasoning is because I felt like they hadn't reached their peak level of artistry. This definitely foreshadows it. Stinkfist, fucking amazing song. This whole album is amazing. I knew Lateralis was going to be my first just because it's different than this album. This one does have character that Undertow has still. A little bit of the song structure and the lengths of the songs are shorter on this compared to Lateralis. Eulogy comes in at 8 minutes, long song. Hooker with a Penis, that's such a heavy song. Hilarious song. Yes, absolutely.
If I remember correctly, I think this record had a lot of religious overtones to it. Because when I saw them perform with Alice in Chains, he came out as a fake faith preacher, like a one of those televangelist guys. It's fucking awesome. Then of course he strips down to his fucking shorts, and that's it for the rest of the show.
Yeah. And the H is a heavy fucking song, beautiful building song. 46 in 2. Oh my gosh. This album, when this came out, there was nothing like it.
Nope.
And only to be outdone by their next album, in my opinion. But,
Thank you, John. We're just here hooking.
Hookers with penises. I think a lot of people would totally agree with you. I had a friend who was an absolute tool nut, more than me. And then I had another friend who was more of a tool nut than me. And that one thought Lateralis was the best and the other thought Anima was. And, I can't argue. They're both amazing, but different albums.
Yes. But they are kind of a gateway to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing. You can definitely tie these two records together very easily because you could see where it's going. For me, and this is the reason it is my number 1. The drumming is fucking amazeballs.
Mm-hmm.
It is everything that I hoped it could be. Not that Lateralis didn't have excellent drumming, because it did. The drumming here is more intense. It's a bit more technical. He adds so much to the songs. And it's almost like, I don't know, if you were to shrink some of the songs on Lateralis into the length of the songs on this record, he fits more in. But even though he's fitting more in fill-wise and groove-wise, and just the different, like turning his snare off. Actually, I think he has a separate snare that he leaves off in order to do this song. And he also works with electronics, too, on this record. He's got some electronic pads that he's kind of like hitting in between doing tom riffing and walking it between that and the snare, but in between there he's hitting this like thing. I don't know what the fuck it is, but all I know is that is what really fucking got me for this record. That and fucking H got me through one of the worst breakups I've ever had in my life. That song was my song on repeat for a week, maybe 2 weeks straight. Got it out my system. And obviously, 46 and 2, Stinkfist, Eulogy, obviously the hooker. And Jimmy, that was a good one too. A lot of hate for the Christianity. All those fake preachers asking for money. It wasn't the Lord that wanted your money, it was my dick.
So did you see them on this tour?
Yes.
Okay.
At the strangest of festivals. It was the forgot the name of it. The lead singer from Jane's Addiction is the one.
Lollapalooza.
See, all I had to do was say that. Lollapalooza, which on a 97-degree day, it was a dry arena. No alcohol. None.
Wow.
Not a drop. You'd be kicked out. So everybody was high on fucking acid. So you had people passing out left and right. It was the craziest. I mean, Ozfest, you think is like, at least for our time, was the craziest you could imagine. Fuck no. That show in Akron, Ohio was like, people are dying here. I'm like, not to mention there was a fucking just horrible fucking band. The only reason I even went to the show in the first place was to see Tool and Alice in Chains with Lane Staley. So I got what I wanted because they came on at night. So out came my flask. They couldn't see me.
Yeah, that's before 9/11. That's before 9/11, where we got checked and we had to go through metal detectors all the time.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
It's like if you wanted to, slide in a midget, you could do it undetected. But that's why this album, I mean, pound for pound, to me, it's not exactly the best that they brought, because obviously the next record upped it that much more, but I just have so much emotion and attachment to that record. It had to be my number one.
And I can see how the percussion is more intense. I agree. But I would argue on my number one, which is Lateralis. And what an amazing album. If you guys go and buy this thing, if they still do it, they have all of these kind of transparency things where you kind of go through and you keep breaking it down until you're down to like the skeleton. You get to the muscles. Like, what kind of cool design is that?
Really kind of fit the music.
What I noticed on Lateralis, which is my number one Tool album, and by the way, this fucking album is, if I could only listen to one album for the rest of my life, this is it. It's always, ever since after I heard this like the fourth or fifth time, I knew that this was it. This is the love of my fucking life. Fucking love this album. So one of the biggest things that I thought was really different on this album, that was a departure from Anima and definitely from Undertow and Opiate, was Danny Carey's percussion. Very tribal.
Very true.
Filled the space along with the bassist and Adam Jones' guitar. They worked as a unit perfectly. Long, complicated songs, playing simple things for the most part, though. But his drumming was a lot more tribal sounding. The way he filled, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I just love this album. If I could never listen to any album ever again, and I had to pick one, this is it. Lateralis.
Oh yeah.
So the songs on it, and this is where the songs, every song was long. The only thing I don't like about this album is all the interlude bullshit. For me, you will not ever hear this on any of my own albums. I never put all kinds of bullshit before the song. Let's cut to the chase and get to the fucking music. I hate all the keyboards and different eerie sounds. Like, I don't, maybe I would do it for 10 seconds, but I would never drag this shit out for 30 seconds or a minute like some bands do.
Well,
But
shit.
Tool,
King Diamond never did that. It only came at the beginning. Or maybe it
Tool-
came at the end after you frickin' jizzed yourself 3 times. Seriously.
But Tool has this for like in between just about every song. 10,000 Days has it, Fear Inoculum has it, and Lateralis has it.
Honey again. No, we didn't scare Kyler off. He said he was gonna he was gonna leave it on, come back to it when he can, because he may have fallen asleep. It's possible. I gave him a freebie tonight. No lazy Danzig nipple. So he was able to rest finally.
So this, for this album, shit, Ticks and Leeches, Schism, as you mentioned before, that bass line is iconic. The Patient, The
Oddly,
Grudge.
the only single off of that record.
Yeah. And I got the CD. They released a single CD with a video for Schism, and I have that. And they released the Parabola single CD with a DVD that came with it. So I got that one as well. It's
Now
right
that
over
is
there.
definitely one tour I wish I would have been able to catch.
Yeah, I didn't
To
catch the
see it
Lateralis.
live.
Yeah, they played a lot of songs from there, but I caught 10,000 Days, and maybe I was a little disappointed because Lateralis is the shit. Like this, to me, they just perfected the use of their delay on the bass and on the guitar. It was the most atmospheric. The three last albums are all very atmospheric. The way that they build each song, beautiful, gentle, if you will, clean notes in the bass line, and then they build until they just fucking crush you. This is the first one where every song had a very untraditional song structure. It's really hard to predict, like Maynard singing, very unconventional. The songs are all very long, and from here out, the songs are long. On Fear Inoculum and on 10,000 Days, these are long songs.
Which I don't know if that was planned or if that's just the way they decided to roll. Like they just wanted to keep doing it, almost like a free form jam in a way.
Mm-hmm.
How much can we strip it away? Start with, and just get a little bit more complicated, strip it all the way down to where you just couldn't do anything else with it, which might have been the thing. And I think that bled into why I didn't like the latest one as much, because like I said, it just started to become just a little bit too predictable for me when that record came out. But I mean, obviously you would expect from Tool, you're in for a ride, and it's not going to be the worst ride. Even if they weren't at their best on that record, you're still getting high quality musicianship, and the sound and rhythms that we really love from them. And the one thing about Lateralis, I really just over the top, whoever produced the record, I forget the guy's name. It is not very often you have a band of this caliber where you can literally pick out all the tones of the toms.
Mm.
Sure, you may get high, mid, low. That guy's got like 14 fucking drums, and you
Mm.
hear every single tone. Every nuance, every ghost note, it's there. And with metal records, I'm here to tell you, hard as fuck to get. Which is why I drilled my producer on the Black Flame to the ends of the earth to make sure you heard everything I did. Like I said, a band like that and a producer like that, not just the record, but damn it, live, they reproduce it. That is how good they are.
Mm.
No additives, no preservatives, just their fucking brilliance.
This
So
is the
even
album.
though, go ahead.
This is an album that my brother had it before I did, and I listened to it
Gotta
with
love
him.
how
We
that
went
works.
we went to the record store, and he played it in his Blazer on the way there. And when I got back, I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to get that album." So, uh, oh, he played it on the way back because I would have bought it when we went there. And so I ended up getting it, took it home because I lived out in Georgia. Got it home, and I was in my art studio painting, and I listened to it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty good, but I don't know." Listened to it the second time, same thing. This is pretty good. These songs are really long. I don't know about this. Third time, I was like, well, you know, yeah, there's really something to this. Let me listen to it one more time. It was the fourth time because the songs are so long. And it was untraditional the way they structured the songs that I was so used to this, being able to
Like
predict
a
how
formula.
things went. Yes. And this Tool is not that. And that's part of what makes them in addition to their cooperation and their role playing. Okay, I'm not going to do guitar wankery and do all kinds of crazy guitar solos and stuff like that. Baseline, you're going to do your job. You're going to stand out. You're going to have a lot of prominence. Danny Carey, you're going to be amazeballs the whole time, and you're going to fill all kinds of space, different time signatures, polyrhythms, and then Maynard comes in, his beautiful voice, his yelling at times, the building. This is where I was represented by a gallery up in Atlanta, and so I would be there almost every night painting and painting and painting. I listened to this album and Björk's Vespertine album. Those are the two albums I listened to the whole year. I fucking loved both of those albums. These
You
guys
know,
are artists. This
yeah.
is like the blueprint for what an artist is, to take an idea of something, improve on it, push that idea until it becomes really, really unique and it stands out. And for them to all sit back with their egos and work together and cooperate the way that they did is just fucking stunning. Lateralis, my number one.
And most importantly, they had fun.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell that there is a lot of love that goes into what they do.
Yeah.
And just like any other art, it's an extension of whatever shit we go through, feelings, bad shit happens, the things that nobody else wants to talk about. That's what was always so good about Maynard.
Mhm.
He will bring out every
Mhm.
subject that would just hit you fucking sideways, like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
He just wasn't afraid to do it. And that's what he was kind of like. I don't know, you can almost call him the Jim Morrison of metal in a lot of ways. And it was kind of interesting. Like I said, I was definitely a product of the MTV generation when they actually played music videos. That's how I
Yes.
discovered Tool. The video
Mhm.
for Sober. It struck
Mhm.
me, and I was hooked from there and continued on.
Mhm. So grateful for this band. Just great shows. Now, let's talk about their live shows. Very much visually. I think it's absolute bullshit. I don't like that Maynard sits way at the back of the top in the middle. I don't like that. Like that's kind of a gimmick. Like, come off your cross, Maynard. You're allowed to be a front man. You don't have to act like, oh, I don't have an ego. I'll sit in the back. Or no, I'm building tension like you guys really want to see me and I'm so curious and I'm hiding in the back. I don't like that bullshit. Just come out and be real. Like I will criticize that aspect. But when you go to a Tool show, you should probably drop some acid, definitely go there high. And you you're there to listen to the music, soak in the atmosphere of what they're doing, and look at their trippy fucking visual show on their humongous screens behind the stage.
See, I was lucky that Maynard didn't do that when I saw him. So that must have been, like you said, something pre-planned. Let me be ambiguous and nonchalant. Then I'll come out to the front and build that kind of tension. I get that. He almost kind of did it even with the fact that he came out and sang. It must have been 5 fucking songs before he took the outfit off. It was like, oh, it's Maynard. You knew it was him, but he's dressed as a like he's trying to play like he's a fake preacher. I mean, I get it. That's kind of the concept of his lyrics for the record. Most of the subject matter. So I wonder, although I don't know what the purpose of hanging out in the back would be for the one that you caught. That's kind of strange.
And he does it for a perfect circle. The first time I saw a perfect circle, there was a white sheet and he was backlit. And so he was kind of playing with his shadows on the sheet. So if you were in the back of the stage, but I was on the side, so I saw just the side view of him, and he had his long fake dreadlocks, which I thought was bullshit. Like, why do that? Like these girls that run around with fake braids with this synthetic hair that goes down to their knees these days, and fake eyelashes and fake nails. I'm just like, I don't need all that bullshit. Just be yourself.
It's kind of funny. I think I do remember in an interview somewhere where he was talking about theatrics. And I think he's a big purveyor of theatrics. So, I mean, there's the difference between, making a song, trying to show visually what the song's about is one thing. But if you do it in such a way that just doesn't make fucking sense, doesn't come off the way you want it to.
Yeah.
He doesn't need no fucking wigs.
I know.
And he also said when he was asked why do we see you this way now, he just wanted to completely seem like I am not Maynard of Tool.
Whatever.
That's what I say.
I kind of think maybe he was trying to be, how like Led Zeppelin had spoken about the mystery, and like they didn't try to be accessible to everybody all the time, and it just wasn't, especially before MTV.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There was mystery. Like you wanted to go see that band. I'm kind of like, I'll kind of give Maynard a pass a little bit if he was trying to kind of, because he is such a famous and iconic front man, that maybe he's trying to keep that kind of sense of mystery there, and like, who is this guy? Do you really know what he's about?
Don't see by now how he could possibly pull that off. Yeah. We see you, Maynard. We know it's you, Baldy. Stay out in front. Play to the people. We don't need to see your feng shui or your dancing shadows in the distance. Nobody wants to see you dance. They want to get punched in the fucking balls, in the throat, by your voice. Do what you do best, and destroy our eardrums in a beautiful way. That's what we want.
And with his megaphone, that I think he uses that megaphone effectively. in
Yeah.
the recordings. Like it's distorted just enough. Like sometimes it starts to border on a bit of a gimmick, but I think most of the time it's very effective. Like he doesn't overdo it with the
And I
megaphone.
don't really think that it became a posh to do until you saw Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots do the same thing.
Hmm.
There was no reason for it.
No. And there were others before that that were using a megaphone. I can't think of who it
Asshole
was, but
Rose.
yeah, there was more. There's even more. Like he's definitely wasn't the first to use one. I'm trying to think of who it was. So probably a punk band that used it.
Now that makes sense.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hell no, we won't go. Makes perfect sense in punk. But yeah, there really doesn't need to, I mean, they could totally just do the show with their imagery, like you said, on the screens, and leave it at that. That's enough.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let us
So
focus more on you and not what's going on behind you.
yeah.
All right.
Well, I hope
Well,
everybody will share this shit out. This is a
you
great
better, God
topic.
damn it.
Both of us have seen Tool before. We're old guys, so we are very familiar with all of the
Oldish.
discography. We kind of grew up with it, and like I think we have pretty good insight into this band. We're both musicians, so fucking just amazing artists.
Well,
What
and
a
there's a
team.
reason that it inspired, generations to come.
Yeah.
There's people in their 20s and 30s fucking rocking out to this shit. Maybe they didn't rock out to it when they were in high school, but once you get out of that box and open up your mind and not to go with whatever's popular or shoved down your throat
Mhm.
on the radio, you discover something much better. And that's why, and I'll tell you, that's one thing about a Tool show that I can definitely say. It is a very diverse group of people.
Mhm. Yep.
You're not going to just see just metalheads.
Mm-mm. For
You're
sure.
going to see normal people, normal clothes, no tattoos or piercings or anything like that. You're going to see regular people that just fucking appreciate it.
Mhm.
you know? So, and I love that about them. They're very crossover, which is why I said Perfect Circle never needed to happen.
Yeah.
I get it. He just wanted to get out some other musical interests. But once you do that, you get a 13-year gap. We're talking about albums that are 30 years old and they only have 5.
Yep.
They should
Yep.
have
It's
like 8 by
yeah, at
now, at
least.
least.
At least. I
I
blame
feel
Maynard for that. I just think
I
Maynard
do.
isn't
I really
I think
do.
I think he's an asshat at times. Ma-
Prima
Maynard, I
donna.
don't care if you hear that, but like I'm kind of fucking pissed. Like I don't like it when they don't like share they've got these fans and they're super loyal fans. They did a
It's almost
show
like a
like
cult.
yeah, every summer they still did a show, although they weren't putting out new music, and they were huge outdoor shows.
Yep.
The people are so loyal, and to me, it's pretty shitty to not, um, give them a little bit more insight in what's going on. Be more straightforward. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're having a hard time with your creativity, Maynard, because you're the one, because I can read between the lines in the interviews from Danny and Adam that you're the one that's holding things back.
They could have broken down other musical barriers in
Hmm.
that time. You
Yeah.
don't get to your best fucking record to date and then stop.
If I'm ready for a new album, they owe us a new album, and I want
They
it.
definitely owe us a
And
new
I
album.
and I agree. I want Maynard to bring it again, and I
He
want
needs
I
to.
want I want Tool to give us something a little different as well.
I think he got a little too lazy in his vocals because, like you said, he kind of fell into a little bit of the popish realm. with Perfect Circle. And I said
Especially the
the
last
same
album.
fucking thing about Corey Taylor and Slipknot. The
Mhm.
moment he steps out, he thinks he's king shit of fuck mountain, suddenly starts Stone Sour and then his own thing that was ultra fucking poppy. And at that point, you denutted Slipknot when you came back.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that the vocalist always makes the band because that's not true. Look at Sabbath.
Mhm.
They've had a myriad of excellent singers. In the end, though, Tony Geezer, Bill Ward. Okay, need I say more? Or also Vinny Appice. But thank you, John. John says Corey is a prima donna. Yes, he is, in every sense of the word. They just lost their step. It's the same thing. I've seen it 1,000 fucking times. What's his name? The lead vocalist for Soundgarden went on to do
Chris Cornell, Audio Slave.
He didn't get his balls back until he got into fucking Audio Slave. That was the Chris Cornell we knew, not the doom and gloom, pretty acoustic shit. Don't get me wrong. It's great if you like folk shit. That's fine. But not somebody like that. Not a singer that's got the grit and the fucking fortitude to punch you in the face with his fucking vocals.
Yeah, Chris Cornell's a great example. One hell of a vocalist.
I mean, look at what happened to Metallica. James Hetfield, you can't sing. I'll say it till my dying breath.
Shit, they can't even
killed it.
They can't even write good riffs these days.
I'll do you one better. Metal Injection just did an article saying they added Saint Anger to the top 50 worst metal albums of all time. And there's a reason for it. Singers that suddenly get a too big of a fucking head can really change the dynamic of the band.
Or I think Cliff Burton was the driver and the major songwriter.
He was the heart and soul.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think
without him around to tell Lars how to play.
Yes, Lars drumming went to shit, and Cliffy had worked on a bunch of songs for And Justice for All before he passed.
Yes,
and it was after that fucking Bob sucked 10 million cocks came in. I never want to hear Enter Sandman again.
Actually, Bob Suck-a-Cock. That's his name.
Yeah.
That is forever your name.
Yeah.
Cocksucker. Fucking hate that guy.
Shit, he even wore a ponytail like a girl. Like he wore it up really high.
A pony nub.
Like
that
this.
Is what we call that shit.
Yeah.
Yes. He may as well have just put a fucking dress on and called it a day. Fucking
what a cheese ball.
Well, Metallica's not fucking Aerosmith.
Or Motley Crue. He had done Dr. Feelgood before that. Yeah.
Which is crazy because Dr. Feelgood was actually a pretty good record for them.
Yeah, most of the songs are pretty damn good.
So then you turn around and denut a seriously heavy band? Fuck you.
Hell yes.
We should all fucking light torches and fucking mob his house, bastard.
Yeah, I've only seen Metallica once, and it was more than 30 years ago, and I have no desire to see them again.
No.
If they were only going to play like Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and Injustice for All, I'd want to go see that, and Kill 'Em All. I'd want to go see that. If they promised to play nothing after that, I would go see that.
Oh, I'd love to see them try to play Kill 'Em All. I'm telling you right now, they ain't got it.
Well, the two new songs that they put out just fucking suck. And a lot of people are falling over and just like, fuck that. They're so fucking boring. They're saying, oh, this is a lot like Kill 'Em All. I'm like, no, this is thin bullshit.
Fucking Kill 'Em All had heart.
Yeah, hell yes.
And that's something I hope Tool never loses. The other three guys, I don't think they'll ever lose their step. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's like that fourth ingredient, the lead singer, it just depends a lot on them. And I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'd rather just hear a great instrumental record, and I'm not even bullshitting.
Well, David Lee Roth fucked up Van Halen.
Oh my goodness. Gave
Fucking
us
egomaniac.
Sammy fuck off. Hang himself, Sammy Hagar.
Yep.
Man, they went from the ultimate party band to the
Absolutely.
ultimate suddenly we're serious.
Yeah, just good God.
Oh, I'm
Bad
sure
choice.
you gave us Pound Cake, but it wasn't monumental. I'd rather have Devil's Food Cake. give me the Eddie that I know and love.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I mean, I appreciate the fact that Alex Van Halen can play the piano, but fuck off. Get back behind the kit and do what you do best. Don't have a fucking ginormous drum set and play 3 of it.
Yeah. Hey, would you mind singing the chorus to it's a how will I know when it's love?
Oh, how will I know it is love? Fuck off. Go drink some of your horrible fucking tequila.
Oh, fucking awful.
And you out there in the comments, you guys can tell us that we're full of shit. I don't care. But I'm telling you, when they had balls, they had balls.
Hell yeah.
They were breaking down doors. They were playing. I mean, Van Halen wasn't a heavy band, but the way they played was exciting.
Hot for Teacher was so exciting. The energy that it had in Panama, my gosh.
Those are just, there's a reason those songs are still on the radio, people.
I'll
and every
wait.
time you hear it, you got no choice but to go.
Yeah.
You are with it. I could go on about this all fucking day.
Yeah.
Believe me.
It's so fun talking music with you, Reaper, and I hope everybody has enjoyed this stuff. I hope you get something out of it, because we do throw ass loads of anecdotal information in here.
But they all make sense, though. It's not like it's just, technical nonsense. And that's why we like you guys interacting with us, because we like to hear your thoughts too. Everybody always has a perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always the same. So it's kind of refreshing. Sometimes we don't think about things. Thank you all for kicking off your Saturday night with us.
Mm-hmm.
Be safe out there. Have a couple of drinks. Maybe some devil's lettuce. But always.
It's coming.
Always. Yes, education made fun. Stay heavy.
Riding in this wasteland, left us some beach to